Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. As prompted by an old friend of mine, it's time to revisit the idea of making an A-10 in Kerbal Space Program. Also, I should take the flag off, so I'll do that when I go back to finish editing it. Also, since there's no guns in the game, the gun up front has been replaced by a structural piece. As you can see, we're using, .25, the Space Marine Plus parts to make this. And I think it looks pretty good, and it does fly really well. The only real problem it has is when on the runway, or on the ground at any time, it likes to turn to the left. And that's probably to do with the fact that the landing gear on the front is to the side. And this is just like a real A-10. If you didn't know, the A-10 has its landing gear to the side like that. So anyhow, I'm taking off with the engine at an extremely low thrust because I want to. And as you can see, it takes off just fine despite being at very low thrust, and it flies really well at low speeds. It also flies really well at high speeds, so it just, generally flies really well, which is good because, the last thing you want is an extremely difficult plane to fly. Let's crank up the speed. Oh yes, there's my Strikebreaker 25, which I still haven't made a video for, but I need to, because I have completed it, and I just need to make the video. But as you can see, we are now flying an A-10 at high speed. Kind of let it speak for itself. Oh yeah, that's pretty. So the control surfaces setup is actually a little bit strange in that these are actually locked off. I don't use them at all. They just lock into that slightly lower position. Then these are for pitch and roll. These are just for roll. The rear is just for pitch, and the yaw, of course, is just for yaw. And it works really nice, and I like the way it kind of looks a little bit disjointed at times, and different things end up being slightly weird or whatever. It's just, I really like it. One thing I've been messing around with just now, because I've just gotten through making this, one thing I've been messing around with is trying to scrape the wings off on something, really, and keep flying it. Well, not the whole wing, obviously, but like the tips. And I've just put it slightly out of control, but that's okay, because as you can see, we can recover from that. A little bit of a freeze while it loads things, because I do have some stuff around the Space Center, as already mentioned, including that work-in-progress plane that really just needs to be taken out, because there's no point in having it here anymore, and it's not work-in-progress anymore or anything. And we'll see if I clip the... Nope, I missed. Damn, that was close, but I missed. So yes, you can oversteer, or I know it's called oversteer when you're driving. I don't know what it's called when you're in a plane, but you can do that if you're not careful. And I'm gonna, whoa, that would have taken out the whole wing. That's not what I want to do. But yes, as you can see right now, we have overturned, and the plane acts a little strange, and ooh, that's not a good... That was a good trick. That would have been a great trick if that was intentional, but as a maneuver, damn, that was actually really cool, but that's not what I was supposed to do there. That's kind of close. Oh yes, those Kerbals there, yeah, that's a story that I left them there because I wanted to tell you the story of how that happened. I was flying the Strikebreaker 25, and I basically did a body slam right after takeoff into the air traffic control tower by trying to pull up at the last second to dodge it, but I didn't pull up soon enough. And then everything exploded except the cockpit. The cockpit went in a large arc, over the VAB. I had both Kerbals jump out while it was at the top of the arc above the VAB, and then the cockpit and the Kerbals fell at about the same rate, and the explosion stopped the deceleration of the Kerbals and saved their lives. So Sigvis and Nedke Kerman over there nearly died from a test. And it was great. Well, it wasn't a test, it was just me flying around ridiculously, kind of like how I'm doing right now. So yes, we're going to try real fast to just... That's not going to work. Oh. Ooh. If I get... Oh, that was close. If I hadn't... That's just going to crash. Lovely. So off screen I decided to do some testing, and also I decided to take off with no controls, just throttle to maximum and hit T, And it took the edge of the wing off when it took off because it rolled off the left side of the runway. Also, you might be able to tell that I'm severely fighting to keep it level right now because it keeps rolling to the right slowly. And that's probably mostly due to the fact that it's missing a small piece of wing on the right. And so the lift isn't quite right. Also, I figured out that this thing's flight ceiling is about where we are now. And the reason for that is that you have to, well, unless I can throttle down the engine a bit more and get us to pull up a bit more, then I might be able to get it higher. But basically, what happens is once you get to about 10,000 feet, the thrust from the engines, and the engines being above the center of mass, gets to be too much for you to be able to pull up anymore. And just as I quit recording, it started becoming really, really unstable, wanting to flip to the side. So yes, this thing does not like flying this high, this damaged. Alright, so I have an idea. Okay, wait, right here. Oh no, it just resets to its default. Dang, I was hoping I could lock it in place. That would be a really useful feature to have. But as you can see, once we go into lower altitude, thicker atmosphere, you can see that it does hold up quite nicely on its own. See, there we go. See? Everything ended up just fine. That's a piece of intake in the ground. Yeah. See, we didn't even damage the building. Alright, and now we have the A-10 Lightning II, which should be slightly improved because I've placed the engine slightly lower. And I believe, yep, when I use them, when I activate the small gimbal range, that doesn't do anything. So they are completely fine how they are, which is good, because, you know, it's good. We needed that. Don't crash. Okay. Well, don't crash during takeoff. I do want to crash it, just not during takeoff. Alright, that looks good. That looks a little close. Ooh, like we need to... There we go. See, now we've taken out most of a wing. Hold on, let me... Activate for roll! Activate for roll! Ah, shit. Yeah, let's try that again. Ooh, let's crash. Wait, how'd the cockpit blow up? And as always, thanks for watching. See you in space. Come on, no, stop. While we're rolling, I'd like to be able to hit that button. Trust me, I know how to fly, said me right before I crashed the end of the plane into an air traffic control tower. Or not. Well, I missed that. I don't know the difference between A-10 Lightning and A-10 Warthog, or if there is a difference, or what. Hold on. There we go. Beautiful.